All right, we are live. I'm just gonna go mic only for a bit and wait for people or two to hop in before we start. Jason Lives Friday the 13th Part 6 to lead into having Jason himself on the channel at 8 o'clock. So I will be right back. All right. Since we are on a little bit of a short schedule, just because this movie has to end before 8 o'clock. So I'm going to wait a minute, then I'm going to start this movie. As people come in, if you want to watch, we'll just give a timestamp. But Jason Lives, this used to be my favorite Friday movie until I grew up a bit. Like, I don't know if it says something about it because this is the movie where we got a lot more comedy in this series. So maybe that's why it was my favorite as a kid, because it dropped decent amount since back then. Like, it's in my top 5 Fridays, but Friday 4 is the best slasher ever made. Friday 2 is my second favorite. This might be fourth, like maybe after part 3. But then you got the original. I don't know, it's somewhere in the top 5, but it used to be number 1, which is interesting. Now, I know C.J. Graham didn't play Jason in the infamous paintball scene from this movie. They had some other actor, and they dubbed him Fat Jason, which he's not that fat. I mean, compared to other Jasons, yeah. But like for this, like he's not a fat dude. The guy that's in the paintball scene playing Jason, but that's not C.J. Graham. And then they ended up replacing that guy with C.J. So I'm gonna start this. I'm just gonna hang out and watch this movie. See people, if you hop in, you want to watch, I'll give you a timestamp. But we just started Friday, part 6. I don't think CJ has done anything really besides this role. I think he's been like one other thing, which I should probably look in on that, right? Like before I have to get on. I know he was ex-military of some sort. I think it was Navy. I'll find out in a second. Pretty sure it's just that one role and one other. He was in the music video for Alice Cooper's "The Man Behind the Mask" from this movie, so that makes sense. And he was in Highway to Hell from 1992. And then 13 Fanboy, I'm guessing that's the Friday the 13th documentary. So I've never seen Highway to Hell, because that is the other film that CJ was in. Yeah, Dan Bradley was the other Jason in this movie that they replaced CJ with. Yeah, the paintball scene was already filled with Bradley, which was played, and that's right. Yeah, there's 3 different Jasons in this movie, because there was a different one who played Jason in the opening scene with Hoss getting his heart ripped out. So there's 2 scenes that are not CJ in this movie. I knew there was one. Did not remember the second one. Yeah, so as of 2017, CJ Graham played only one other role in the horror film Highway to Hell as the main antagonist. Heavily made up silent monster called the Hellcop. That sounds so familiar. Did I see that? Highway to Hell. Has anyone ever seen the Highway to Hell from '92? CJ Graham is the main antagonist in that movie. This is such a great intro, though. I mean, after 5 movies, they pretty much had to figure out something new to do with Jason. They did the copycat thing. You saw how that turned out. I love part 5, but that movie was very, very hated. Still is. Not as much, but it is. And then we got this one. And Tom McLaughlin directed. And they said, let's bring it into a zombie Jason era. And I mean, huge homage to Frankenstein here with the lightning hitting the shovel when he's digging him up, which was pretty much the point, to make him like a Frankenstein's monster. He can't die as a human being, apparently, so let's just make him immortal so he can never die ever. That way we make sure in 30, 40 years we still got movies coming out of his property, right? Yes, sir, don't worry. At least they had this scene written and put together, unlike in Friday 5 when they had Corey Feldman come back. He had to shoot in like his backyard, the beginning of part 5. He doesn't like this. Yeah, no one likes digging up random ass graves in a graveyard in the middle of that when you're from a mental institution, especially. Hmm. So apparently, C.G. Graham he had the chance to reprise Jason in Freddy vs. Jason, which I'll never forget Ronnie Yu for. I mean, he did Bride of Chucky, which I love, but not casting Kane Hodder as Jason in Freddy vs. Jason was one of the biggest crimes in the history of horror. So Graham's name was brought up in suggestion. That's nice of CJ. It says here that CJ was both a good friend of Kane's and feeling like New Line were treating Kane unfairly. He didn't want a part of it. So he ended up not doing anything with that, even though they did bring his name up for Freddy vs. Jason. That's loyalty right there. I mean, he turned down a big gig just because he's friends with Kane Hodder, and he thought that he was being treated terribly, Kane. And I agree. That's who played it in Freddy vs. Jason, Ken Kersinger. I love when they're looking at Jason's corpse in the grave. He says, man, he must have really messed you over. You have no idea, Hoss. You're about to lose your heart over it. There's the lightning strike. Bringing good old Jason to life. To life. Forever now. Because now he's a zombie. He can't die. Yeah, so he was a nightclub owner, and that's how he got spotted as a potential for Jason. What's up, Larry? How you doing, buddy? Yeah, that's the fun thing with like these member watches, like when I don't really care too much about these things, but some people want to support the channel a little bit. If people don't show up, I just hang out here, talk to myself, and watch a fucking movie. We got Jason, just got hit by the lightning rod, and he is now alive. Well, dead alive. He is now dead alive and can never be killed again. I was just looking up some stuff on CJ Graham because I was thinking to myself, I was like, pretty sure he only did Friday and like maybe another thing. I was like, I should look into that before I talk to him, before I speak to him and shit. But yeah, it was pretty much just that and some movie that it sounds familiar. What the hell is it called? Highway to Hell from 1992. And he plays like the main antagonist in it. It sounds familiar, and when I read the description, it sounded familiar. Oh, was this the first Jason? I was saying earlier, this used to be my favorite Friday. And it kind of makes sense because, I mean, ever since maybe my teenage years or so, and 4 and 2 started outplacing it. 4 today, 4 I think is the greatest slasher movie ever made. Then I'd put 2, then maybe 3, and then this movie. I feel like the comedy is a big reason why this worked for me more as a kid. Because you have those comedic scenes in this movie. And it's funny. So as a kid seeing this and like you see the paintball scene and the doofy ass motherfucker walking around, the smiley face, like all that humor stuff. I could see why it was people's favorites and my favorite growing up. The lack of the kills though are probably the biggest reason this went down for me over the years. Like where 2, 3, 4 still have good kills. I mean, this is where they started butchering these movies. Jason Live. Tom Matthews would be another fun person to talk with. Yeah, the NES game was fun. I still remember playing that like real young. I think I might have played that game before I saw the movie. Like saw the first Friday or any of the Fridays. I think I just had it for like the NES. Like what is a collection of games? Did you play the Friday game from Gun Media from a few years ago? Because they did a great job with that. I would like to see a Camp Forest Green map if we didn't get the whole lawsuit and that game just sunk completely. Because they did a great job with everything with the game, like aesthetic-wise. It looks just like the movie. It has the feel of the movie. Playing like Jason feels like you're Jason. Like they did a great job, despite all the terrible bugs and the terrible launch it had. Yeah, you should give it a shot. I don't even know if the servers are up now, actually, still, because they moved on. The same company made the Texas Chainsaw game. So I'm sure all their focus is on that. I don't even think the servers are online anymore for Friday, but they have an offline mode that you can play as Jason. I think only as Jason. You can't play a counselor. You can play as Jason, though, and go around killing, like, bot counselors. And then they have, like, single-player missions that they added right at the end before the game, the lawsuit, like, took off. Just, I guess, so they had things for people to do, because they probably saw the game getting shut down like it did because of the lawsuit. I got to play more of the Texas Chainsaw game, because I played, like, 2 rounds of that. And I said, that's fun, a little. I just never went back to it or anything. And Damien Maffei, who I was supposed to have on him 2 weeks ago. I had to reschedule with him when I had to go upstate to see watch my daughter. He was in, he's going to be in it, like as some new character or something in the Texas Chainsaw game. That's like mostly what he wants to talk about. And Barbara Crampton got added too, I think, to the Texas Chainsaw game. Wherever the red dot goes, you bang. I don't think changing the name of a town or is going to make people forget the fact that there were dozens of brutal murders by a supernatural killer there. You can change Harlem to any other name. People still going to know where they're at, and it's Harlem. But yeah, that full moon idea, that would be fun if you're in for that. Because I'll go down for, I got to rewatch a few for sure, like you said. But there are a lot of fun ass full moon movies, and there are a lot of terrible ones too. I just do not care for. Yeah, right. The TV show that the TV show just got lucky. I guess they were working on it in the years leading up to the lawsuit, and they probably had to pause work on it because of the lawsuit. But then they probably just hit the right time that the lawsuit ended, and they're like, "All right, good, we can finally go move forward with this." Because we're supposed to get it this year, I think, right? Which is crazy. I'm interested for sure in seeing what they do with it. I don't really have any high expectations or anything. Oh, nice! I love Castle Freak. That's like my favorite full moon movie. That's already like gave away the number one. It's Castle Freak. Just the whole trio of Gordon and Crampton and Combs, I think, are like the holy trinity of like 80s horror. Castle Freaks, early 90s, whatever. This guy's been in the stuff after this movie. The Steven Weber, the guy who gets killed, and then the girlfriend with the credit cards. He's been in like a decent amount of stuff nowadays. Pretty sure it's Steven Weber. Jason just pops one of their tires. Yeah, no, they do. I mean, everything Combs and Crampton does together. Crampton is just one of my like dream gets. Same with Jeffrey Combs. Like that's probably like top three in my female and male horror people to have on and talk to one day. Like I reached out to Barbara during the strike. I talked to our agent. She said, he said send her an email, and then when the strike ends, then the strike ended. I reached back out, and he said she's not doing any interviews right now, but circle back. So at least she knows that I exist now. At this, it's the same with Felissa Rose. So it's like get on the radar. Be like, hi, like I'm here, like I exist. I'm a person. That way it sticks in the head. They'll be like they see you on Twitter or something. Oh, that's right. I know that person. Then who knows? So that would be a dream though to get Barbara Crampton. This credit card joke is great, but I feel like it's the only thing that really dates this movie a hell of a lot. I can just picture the theater. Don't leave home without it. The American Express. Dude, right? Like she's gorgeous still to this day. Like she is aged so well. It's unbelievable. Sometimes she'll put pictures on Instagram and stuff, like throwback pictures, and I'll look at it. But like it's just her like dressed as like a character from that. And for a second I'll think it's young her. And it's not. It's her nowadays. It's just like dressed up as a throwback. Like, damn, man. Barbara still looks fantastic. And did you see Suitable Flesh? Joel Lynch's newer film on Shutter with her and Heather Graham, because the both of them are great in that. Heather Graham especially, she was like the main actress in it. Heather Graham's another one that she's still looking fine. Oh, this guy's the cherished joke about this guy's pants. You own a sewing machine. The guy's got holes like this big on each fucking knee in his jeans. Yeah, check it out. Suitable Flesh is was pretty good. It's like I think it's based off a Lovecraft story, or it's Lovecraft esque. It's definitely Lovecraft esque. I'm not sure if it's based off a story by Lovecraft, but Dennis Paoli wrote it. Who wrote From Beyond, Reanimator, Castle Freak? I'm pretty sure Castle Freak. Dagon, all the Stuart Gordon Lovecraft movies. They got the same writer there who wrote it, and Joe Lynch is a damn good director. And there's some hot scenes in there too with Heather Graham. Like definitely worth watching. I was looking through that New Jersey Horror Con that I'm gonna 99% go to. Totally skipped over Tina from Part 7, and House 2 is gonna be there. I forget the actress's name, but totally missed that. And then I looked and I said, "Oh shit, I didn't miss that Tina from Part 7. Carrie's gonna be there." This homeless. He's not a homeless guy, but he looks like one. The grave digger. He's funny as hell in this movie. Him like, and that's another thing with the humor and like the kid type feeling. It's like when he breaks the fourth wall, says you know fart head or whatever, and the kids the cut gag with the kids screaming. Yeah, it's fun, but again, like I definitely feels like that's why this was my favorite as a kid. Just the childish humor in it. Strange idea of entertainment. Yeah, John Russo's going to be there. That's nuts. And yeah, was that you that said that's him by himself? Someone in the chat said it was by himself. I said, yeah, you don't see that often. And they're still adding people too. It says that the list is still being added to. So maybe they'll add some other cool people. Because I didn't know they did it twice. They have one next month, and then in the same place in Jersey, they have one in August. And Bill Mosley is going to be at that one, which I reached out to Bill. That's a funny story. I didn't talk to Bill himself. Like that's the way I always prefer to talk to people is through direct Instagram or Twitter if I can. But you know, these people don't check their fucking messages. I don't check my messages half the time. I'm nobody, let alone being a fucking horror icon and checking all the hundreds of thousands of messages they must have. So I reached out to his agent, Bill Mosley's agent, and she said, she's like, yeah, he's busy until like the beginning of 2024. This was last year. And she says, well, how big is your channel? I said, I'm like 800 subs. I got another 1,500 on Instagram, 1,500 on Twitter or so. And she's like, yeah, you're going to have to grow your channel considerably for Bill to take part in it. I said, yeah, thanks for being honest. I'm like, you're the first person to ever give that response. I expected that way more often. So I'm like, thanks for the honesty there. And she laughed a bit. But I was like, yeah, I mean, it's Bill Mosley. What do you expect? Maybe that one day when the channel is super big, if it happens, and he'll come. I'd love to be on sometime. I'll be like, yeah, you're gonna have to grow your portfolio like considerably before I let you on this channel. Just get him back years later. Yeah, I mean, I love you. You're one of those horror icons, but you're gonna have to be in like 3 or 4 other franchises before I allow you on this on this channel to be spoke with. This doofus in the paintball scene. I can't stand this guy. This is the other scene that Jason's not played by CJ Graham, which sucks. I mean, if I was CJ, I would have loved to do this scene. It's a fun scene. Doug Bradley, I think his name was. Yeah, right. Just be like, sorry, now you're denied, Mr. Mosley. I gotta put you on the waiting list. It's gonna be, I'll be free around 2028. If you're still alive and shit. That's like the biggest thing is like that's why I go for broke and I'll just reach out for people that I know 90% are big chance that I'm not getting them and stuff because you never know because one the worst they can say is no, and two a lot of these like horror icons and stuff are gonna be dying. And I never say this to them, but I want to like try to like push a little bit, be like like who knows how long you're gonna be here. So like could you like maybe like make this happen before you pass away? Because a lot of them are going to be doing. David Lynch is a favorite director of mine. I reached out to him like when I started the channel, and he's not doing anything right now interview wise. He's focusing on painting. But then I felt like saying to Sabrina Sutherland, I was like, but he's in his like 70s, right? Like I don't have much time left to talk to David Lynch. And that's the case with a lot of these, especially like the Italian horror department. There's like nobody around anymore. That's why I've been trying to get Greta on. Greta, because she's like the only person alive that has worked with Fulci, Argento, Umberto Bava, Bruno Mattei, like all the horror greats from Italy. And Catriona McCall from Fulci's Gate to Hell trilogy. I just reached out to her actually the other day. So those are the only two people I could think of that are like still around and alive in the Italian scene. I like the little sheriff deputy in this movie. The Yabang with the red dot guy. Like this shit's goofy. Like with the doofus when he breaks the branch off the tree, and he's trying to put the branch back on, like it would fix a mistake that would like screw his life up forever if he didn't fix it. I don't know. Oh, that's stupid. Him walking around like an idiot. Yeah, Goretta is great. I mean, she's fun as hell, and I could tell that she'd be just a blast to talk with. I talk with her on Instagram like time to time. She's in the group actually on Instagram, but I'll talk to her every now and then. When I first started talking to her, she would say like, come to a convention." And I say, "Yeah, I wish. I'm a single dad, and I can't be going to conventions." I was like, it'd be great. Just come on sometime. So then now it's been like a recurring gag. Every time I like message her or she messages me or something, I'll be like, so when you coming on? Like, so now it's like been a long running thing. I'm kind of breaking her down a little bit. So I think one day we'll have her on sometime maybe this year, I'm hoping. Because I've been breaking her down for a while now. Now it's to the point that she follows me on Twitter, on Instagram. She'll send me fucking convention stuff and posts and stuff like that of hers. But she is really cool. See, this triple decapitation would look so much better if we actually saw like effects work, aside from them just falling down, and that's it. This is where this doofus realizes that real Jasons they indeed can stop fake bullets. Yeah, that had to be fun. Who was there? I mean, anyone from that classic has got to be just a blast to talk with. I would love to. That's right, because Joe Pilato died. What, like 2 years ago or a year ago or something like that? Recently, in the last few years, he would have been great to talk with just for Day of the Dead. But I was watching a movie last night. I haven't seen it forever. I fell asleep during it, but Effects from like '79, and like these people are making a horror movie, and then they realize the murders happening in their movie they're filming might be real, and a killer is around. Pilato's in that. I saw that forever ago, and that made me think of him. I was like, oh, that sucks that he passed away. Yeah, Killed Off Screen doesn't count for me for anything. Like, the movie could be excellent, and if it has all kills off screen and stuff, in the kill department, it sucks. Like that's just how it is. It's a little different, like in Sleepaway Camp, like in the three Sleepaway Camp movies. I don't even talk about Return to Sleepaway Camp because that movie's an abomination. I gotta mention that to Felissa Rose. It's like her on. I love everything you've been in, but Return to Sleepaway Camp almost fucking killed me. Like that movie, I had a meltdown in my review of that movie early on in the channel, and she's in it for like 2 seconds at the end of that movie. But those movies are good with showing like the after effects of the kills, and that's fine. Like if you don't really have on-screen kills much, but you get some good practical effects, seeing the bodies like for every kill, pretty much that I can deal with, and that's why Sleepaway Camp the movies work very well for me. Judith Thrust. Oh, nice. Speaking of Judith, that's her name in Sleepaway Camp, right? Judy, the bitch. I forget who. It's not Brink Stevens. What I always. It's Karen King or Karen something like that. But she just recently started doing like conventions and stuff for Sleepaway Camp for her role in that. She's like, I can't believe and thank you all you fans and stuff for coming out to see her. But she's not doing interviews right now. She's taking a break from it. She'd be fun to have on. Talk with bitchy Judy from Sleepaway Camp. I don't know why I always confuse her with Brink Stevens because they look maybe similar back then. But at least Brink Stevens, she has more shit to talk about than Judy from Sleepaway Camp. See, that's awesome, man. Like, I would have killed to be able to meet Romero. That's what I was talking about with Parry the other night when I had him on. He was saying about they shot Victor Crowley like in secret the fourth movie, and then they had a premiere, and my friend Jason from Sinister Cinema Reviews was at this one of these premieres that Adam Green spoke before the film, and they thought that they were going to watch like a 10-year anniversary of the first action. They ended up saying, no, you're watching like a whole new fourth movie here. And he ended up giving a whole speech, Adam Green, before the movie, and he said that he was so proud of it. He was going to show it to Romero, and Romero just died like months, like 6 months, a year at most before the movie ended. Like he wrapped it and stuff, so he never got to show him. Jason said it was kind of depressing, like the whole that whole like story from Adam Green. But I remembered that when Barry was saying that. So I had a friend who was there. But Adam Green looked up to Romero a lot. Same with Steve Barton, the executive producer for Terrifier and Terrifier 2. He was a big Romero, like huge Romero fan who got to meet him and become friends with his idol. How was he? I'm sure he's probably the sweetest guy. See, I was saying this earlier. I didn't know this. According to an online interview with Kane Hodder, the actor who played Jason after C.J. Graham, they brought up C.J.'s name for Freddy vs. Jason for him to possibly play Jason because they didn't want Kane for some reason. There's been so many different excuses with Robert Englund's height difference and stuff that they wanted to go or just go with somebody completely different, which I think is one of the biggest crimes in horror, not casting Kane Hodder in Freddy versus Jason. But they brought up C.J. Graham's name as a suggestion for Jason. Then he ended up wanting nothing to do with it because he was friends with Kane and he thought New Line was treating Kane Hodder terribly with not casting him. So he said, I want nothing to do with it. That takes some loyalty, man. He's so loyal to his friend and seeing what they were doing to him that he had a big gig possibly right there. And he said, nah, like, I want nothing to do with this because they're screwing my friend over. That's cool. I would definitely love to see the version of Freddy vs. Jason with C.J. Graham. Yeah, that's what I would think. That's how he always seemed. Yeah, I'll never forgive Ronnie Yu for that. I mean, he has Bride of Chucky to balance that because I love that movie. So you got one Ronnie Yu, but then that always left a terrible taste in my mouth with Freddy vs. Jason. Man, I just wish we got better kills in this movie. I've got the glass that he breaks the bottle and shoved in the grave robber's throat. We would have seen like if we had kills like in Friday 4 in this movie, this would still probably be like my second favorite film in the series. It's mostly just the kills being semi butchered. I mean, 7 is where it's really butchered. At least you get a little bit of stuff here. Which I forget. Who did the effects for part 6? I always forget. Wasn't Nicotero? I don't think so. These poor people in the woods. Girl's screaming. He just gets on the motorcycle with her. We got to get to the sheriff's department. He gets stabbed right through the right through the chest, dead. He didn't even have a chance. Pretty sure it was production. I don't know why I'm thinking Nicotero and Burger and K&B, but I'm pretty sure they didn't do the effects for 6. I'm not looking. Can't find it right now. Pretty sure that it wasn't them, though. When I met Kane, there was a guy, 2 people down from me that had a little girl that drew a picture of Freddie and Jason that she loves, and Ken went into a whole story of why he doesn't sign for. Oh yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I get it. I mean, for him, that had to have been hard for him to hard pill for him to swallow, not being cast for that movie, because they were trying to make that movie since after this one, like from part 7 onwards was when they started like trying to do Freddy vs. Jason. So you have him who was Jason during that entire time of like over like 15 years waiting for this project. And he was Jason every movie, the 4 movies leading up to it. And then you get that project greenlit and you don't call Kane Hodder. Like, come on. That's absolutely awful. I don't blame him. I wouldn't sign shit to do with that movie. This is the only Friday film we see actual kids in, like little children. And thankfully, it doesn't seem like Jason has a care in the world for harming little kids. Kane's gonna be at that New Jersey con, so now I'm gonna print out a whole bunch of shit of Freddy vs. Jason. Get on that line, and be like, yeah, I hear you sign this like crazy, and just like drop like a folder of like 52 pickup pictures and shit of Freddy vs. Jason in front of him. Be like, here, I'll take 52 signatures. Then let him say the whole story. Say, I don't sign these. Oh man, now I gotta pick them all up. Are you serious? Yeah, I can see Kane doing that. Like most normal people with a heart, I can see doing that. He shook his head. That's great. Yeah, he's probably looking at that guy like, listen, you see this little girl here, right? You see you. Like, you're not getting the same treatment. The way this girl's fucking court in the RV is hysterical. She starts grabbing his shirt. She's like dancing back and forth with it. That's hilarious. I mean, he's a very good looking Jason too. I just feel like he doesn't have he didn't have the build like Kane and like Brooker and Ted White. Like his shoulders aren't too like big like Kane's. So like Kane looks like a fucking monster. CJ just looks a little less big than I would have asked for if this movie if I was around when this came out. Yeah, he probably wouldn't. That's why I wouldn't do it. Yeah, exactly. He doesn't have the broad shoulders like Kane did. I mean, Brooker and Ted White even had that. Not as much as Kane, but they still, I think, had a bigger look to them. Maybe just the way they shot. They shot CJ in this movie and framed him because he looks like a big fucking guy. Like the pictures I've seen of him online, like prepping for, he's huge. So I mean, he's ex-military Pretty sure it was Navy or something. That's something else I should probably like 100% confirm before he goes on here. But he was some type of military. I mean, he's a big guy. Just doesn't show as much in this movie for some reason. I think he's 6'3". He's not the tallest. I mean, he looks jacked as shit in like 2 or 3 of these pictures. So he looks like huge. I love how IMDb says C.J. Graham is known for playing Jason Voorhees in Friday Part 6, as well as Behind the Mask, Alice Cooper's music video. Like, this is on the credits. What is Friday the 13th Vengeance? A fan film? I'm guessing he was in a fan film. Yeah, fan film. All right, so they got him for one of the fan films. Actually, he looks pretty good in the pictures they show you. I've only seen one of those fan film Friday films. I forget which one it was. It was like these 2 guys, these hunters, went into the woods. And they were trying to find like a deer, like a rare deer or something, and then they come across Jason. There's only like 2 or 3 kills in the movie. It wasn't that great. Like, I know there are some good ones, but I just never got around to seeing them. The Texas Chainsaw fan film, the prequel, unofficial prequel, the Sawyer Massacre, that's a great fan film. Like, I'm not huge on that whole franchise past 2 and the remake, but I would throw that in as like one of the Chainsaw films I would throw on like in a marathon. I would definitely put that fan film in there. Great sound design here too when he gets stabbed with the ice pick, whatever it is, corkscrew, whatever, in the ear. And then like the Frankenstein, the young Frankenstein Alice Cooper music just echoes, like his brain's short circuiting, and then he flips the RV. That's great sound design. And when she gets freaking shoved into the metal wall, her mouth comes out. That's a cool effect. I don't know why he's telling her you need some company in the bathroom. He's driving the van, the trailer. So, like, how is he going to accompany her? No one's going to steer the van. And yeah, he's fucking huge. I'm like afraid to say like one like wrong little even thing that can be taken wrong. Instead, he'll reach through the screen and fucking Jason kill me. It's Frankenstein, Stein. That's so good. I don't know how I feel about the yellow gloves on Jason in this movie. How do you feel about that? Like to this day, I'm not sure. It's cool. It like distinguishes him in this movie. This is the only film he wears these yellow gloves in. I feel like they take away a little bit though, like they're distracting at times because you don't expect Jason to be wearing these big ass yellow gloves. Yeah, that looks great. Like, yeah, and then our face just comes out of the metal cast. Like, that looks really good. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't know what the thing is with the gloves. I mean, it looks fun. I mean, then the shot that he's on top of the trailer, the RV, Jason, he don't have the yellow gloves. Or at least the way they shoot it, they aren't yellow. They're fucking black as can be in that shot. It's not a bad decision or anything. It's just something I think is unique to this movie. And I wonder what made them go with that. If I had to guess, probably it was probably they didn't want to spend, casting his hands as zombie Jason and stuff for the whole movie. So they threw the gloves on so then they wouldn't have to apply prosthetics and shit to his hands every single day. That would probably be my guess. I'm gonna ask him that now because that would make sense. He already has to go through all the prosthetics on the face and the makeup, and then get the mask put on and stuff. Then you got to sit there and get your hands all prosthetic and stuff too. I'm sure that might be the reason. Yeah, he looks like a gardener. He looks like Jason the gardener. Because then apparently they never liked that idea because they never used him again. Probably the only reason I haven't reached out to Tom Matthews is I'm not a Return of the Living Dead fan. So I feel like the only thing I'd be able to talk to him with is this movie. Like, because I mean, I'm just not a fan of Return of the Living Dead that much. Which I mean, the same with tonight. I mean, it's just going to be this movie, but I mean, it's Jason. So I mean, you can talk forever with any Jason, just about the legacy of the franchise and everything. Yeah, he got pissed one day. He tried in the garden, stepped on a thorn bush, fell into one or something. And he said, "That's it. I'm snapping. People are dying today." And that's what puts Jason over the edge. It's just a simple gardening issue. Yeah, I just realized I was on my network and not Wi-Fi. Yeah, I've only seen the first three. I think I want to say, and it's been forever since I saw any of them. I never saw the ones after that. There's like two more, I think, like from later, like in the 2000s, and Necropolis, and another one. I should like rewatch the first three and do like the series and reevaluate them, re-go through them. It's not that I dislike the first one or anything. It's just one of those movies I've seen a few times. I never went ape shit over it, and then I just don't watch it often. I don't know. Zombie horror comedies are hit or miss for me. Like Shaun of the Dead, I think is one of the best like mixes of the horror comedy in the zombie genre. Maybe that's why Return doesn't work that well for me. I like my zombies serious for the most part. Yeah, that's what a lot of people say. Is that after three, like they're not even worth watching. That's how I feel about Sleepaway Camp after three. The Return to Sleepaway Camp, the fourth movie. Yeah, that doesn't exist. It does not exist in my canon. So, like this woman's fucking face. They have the cover over it, and it is red, completely just bloodied. And you don't get to see any of that though when she gets killed. Actually, it's just like that because I completely forgot there was a third warlock until you just said that. So that yeah, that perfectly shows how that movie doesn't exist. I forgot they made a third one of those. Same with Wishmaster. Wishmaster 3 and 4 are just absolutely awful. And I adore the first two Wishmasters. The second more than the first. Those are movies I saw right when they came out or a year afterwards, and they've been favorites of mine. But what they did with 3 and 4, oh my God. Just the whole decision to get rid of Andrew Devoff because he made the whole Jin character. And then they got some random dude. And the effects look terrible on him. Everything about the third and fourth movie are awful. But I'd say those are definitely more sittable and watchable than like Return to Sleepaway Camp. That's awful. Yeah, see exactly. Yeah, there's a 3 and 4. They're awful. They're like sci-fi grade level movies. So if you look at the first movie that had all the horror legends in it, we had Ted Raimi, We had Kane Hodder, we had Robert Englund, we had Tony Todd. Then you had the second movie's excellent, and then the drop from the second movie to the third and fourth is so humongous. It's like the Grand Canyon, like just walking off of it, hitting the bottom, and there's three and four. The Jin looks terrible. He looks very sci-fi-esque makeup. His voice is all wrong because it's not Andrew Devoff with the garbage disposal voice that he has. That's perfect. All of it's bad. Then there's like a love story in one of them, three or four, I forget which one. There's like a love story between the Jin and the girl who woke him for some reason. It gets out there. Yeah, that's how 4 and 5 are. And whenever they have like movies like that are just such a big drop from the first two or three or so, like with Ghoulies and Critters and all the recent ones I've been doing. Everything after like the third movie for all those franchises just absolutely tanks in quality. Critters 3 was a surprise though, because I didn't enjoy it. I wouldn't watch it again, but it's nowhere near as bad as people say it is. And we're hating on Critters 3. I'll take that any day over Ghoulies. Go to college. Ghoulies 3. That's awful. I love how this girl gets pulled out of the window, out of her slippers. The slippers just fall off of her. That's great. And that head twist looks really good. Like, I wish we got more effects like that. Or he rips her head off, right? Because we see her head later. It's not just a head twist. I honestly wish they didn't have Tom Matthews in this movie. I wish they had brought back. Is he? That was. I don't know if you saw my video, but there was in a moment of it. I said, "There's a dude who falls into a mop bucket. It looks like Kane Hodder, but it's not." Then afterwards, I thought to myself, I said, "Maybe that is Kane because John Carl Buechler directed the movie." And he was in Friday 7, directed that. I said, maybe that was Kane, and he's just not credited, or I didn't see the credit. Thank you, because I really thought that was him. That's good to know. Because it looked, he's in it for 2 seconds. Like you see him for a split second, his face, so then it's just POV of him in the little cart, the mop bucket. I said that looks just like a younger Kane Hodder. So good to know it actually was him. That's too funny. I love this. And she pulls up and they had the roadblock. He puts his head down into her lap, right in her crotch. He's staring at. That's funny. What's your favorite look at Jason? Which movie? I'd say 7 is my favorite Jason look. Just the mask, the way it's all torn up, and just Kane's first movie, and the way that what he brought to the performance. Everything is 7. He looks sick. That's a great movie. The best of the best. Yeah. Cool. Same one. Yeah, I love 7. I have the movie Maniac of 7. That was well, I didn't pick it. That was the one they had for the movie Maniac. I'm so glad that they did because that is my favorite looking Jason. Ted White's my favorite Jason portrayal, but the look at him in 7, just the spinal cord in the back exposed, all of that is great. Great effects work. He's still staring at her pussy in this car chase. I feel like it's a weird line of dialogue when his head's down in her lap, driving, and then she says, "That's what I want." When his head's like rolling into her crotch, and she says, "Hold on, this turn's gonna be a hairy one." I feel like they threw that in as just a little subtle joke. Because who says this turn's gonna be a hairy one? I don't know. Yeah, all the face makeup too, like under the mask, just looks great in Seven too. When she breaks his mask apart, we get that great shot from him. All of that looks fantastic. And the movie Maniac Jason, his mask, it's like glued on when you first get it, but after so many years, I don't keep this shit in the box. It just fell off. But he has all the makeup underneath it on the character, and it looks great. Oh, fuck this little bitch. Are you serious? Nobody sneaks up on anyone, I don't care how young you are, with a bloodied machete when they're sleeping in bed. Get out of here. This girl's a bitch. That's why she has to sing Enter Sandman by Metallica to go to sleep and make Jason go away later. You should probably put them, the kid to bed before going to find the others because they don't look too well. They just leave a bloody machete on the ground. All right, we'll just leave this here. It's not like a dangerous weapon covered in blood. You know, it'd be cool to have on Harry Manfredini to talk to him. I want to start reaching out to more people, like score writers and stuff for horror movies. And Harry Manfredini would be one of them because I'm pretty sure he did all the scores in this series except for Manhattan. I want to say it's either Manhattan or Ghost to Hell, but I'm pretty sure it's Manhattan because I'm pretty sure he did Jason Goes to Hell. No, I always forget the sheriff's name is Garris, like Mick Garris. There's a lot of on the nose horror references in Six in this movie. There's like Cunningham Road or something, and there's a carpenter that's the next town over. But I wish they had Shepard come back to play Jarvis in this movie because I'm one of the in the minority that likes Shepard's performance as Tommy in Five better than Tom Matthews in this one. Tommy was with her all that time. The court was killed with the girl. So you wrong, Mick Garris. Sheriff Mick Garris. Oh, so CJ actually was in two of those fan films. There is a Friday the 13th Vengeance from 2019 that he plays the father. He plays Elias Voorhees. And then there's there's a sequel to that, Vengeance 2, from 2 years ago, that has him playing Elias Voorhees and Jason Voorhees. And ask him about those. And the Crystal Lake. You ever see that? The Crystal Lake Memories doc? That was long. It's a great documentary. Same with Never Sleep Again. They did the same thing for the Elm Street franchise. Those are both great documentaries. You got all the cast and crew of every movie as they go through the whole franchise and talk about making each movie. Great stuff. I messaged Lauren Marie Taylor, Vicky from part two I had on because I know she mentioned that she Like when we were asking her who she has met in the Friday family at conventions, she said CJ was one of them, and that she's met CJ many times. So I messaged her and I said, if I'm having CJ on, if you're not doing anything, you wanna hop on and say hi. But I don't. She hasn't seen the message yet. That would be cool though to have her hop in. She was a blast to talk to. That was surreal having because I always had a crush on Vicky in that movie as a kid. Sandra more so, but then I found out that Sandra was 16 during that movie and was underage. So once I hit like 18, I had to shove all that shit out of my head because she lied about her age. But Vicky, I always had a thing for. So it was so surreal, like having her on the screen and talking to Vicky from Friday 2. Yeah, both are great. The Never Sleep Again one is. I think I like that one better, even though I don't like the series as much as the Friday series. Just all the people that they have on there is excellent. I've always assumed Jason just doesn't kill the kids here or in any movie, even though this is the only one we see kids in, because it reminds him of himself. And he was an innocent kid. They're innocent kids. Seems like he just doesn't have a murder boner for children. It's only against the teenagers that caused his drowning fucking decades before they were alive. You know why the game, like you said earlier, meant it probably feels so much like this movie because this is supposed to be the original in Camp Crystal Lake, right? Like because they just changed the name of Forest Green, so this is basically Camp Crystal Lake, just like I guess touched up and rebuilt over the years. So that's probably why it feels just like the first movie because it's supposed to take place in the same location, unlike Packanack Lodge and Higgins Haven, the Jarvis house. I'm pretty sure that's probably what they. Yeah, except in the and yes, that's just random cabins everywhere. They just put like, I mean, look at all the limitations they had then. Their whole little plan to get him out of jail is cool. They start that fake argument. She comes over, kisses him, and then they pull the red dot on the sheriff deputy. Yeah, I don't know about that line delivery. He says because it stinks about our drawing. Wherever the red dot goes, you bang. It takes this deputy mad long to realize they're making out through the bars. And he just said he was going to get the drawing for her. This delivery. Megan, don't clown around with the laser gun. You bang the red Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. I mean, take his own advice from earlier. Just take a nap. The deputy. He's getting locked in a cell. Just go to bed. I'm sure he'll be out of. Well, no, the sheriff gets killed, so he might be in that cell for a while, actually. This guy's got balls. He just grabs the keys to her car and says, "Nah, I'm driving." And then she said, "Nah, I'm driving." No way. But she does let him drive the car. But there's no way she was letting him take that car by himself. I mean, the town of Forest Green looks very different than the town we see in Friday Part 1 in Camp Crystal Lake. It's like a small little, like, one gas station, like, stop village in the first movie. This is like a whole town. I mean, I guess you could say over the years they built and expanded. That's right. Yeah, CJ had to do a fire stunt in this movie too, like Kane in the next one. Have you ever seen the documentary on Kane Hodder, To Hell and Back? That's a great documentary too. Because I didn't know until I first saw that the stunt that he did a fire stunt like very young in his career and almost killed him. Like he was in the hospital for like 6, 7 months and in a hospital that wasn't prepared to like work with skin grafts and burn victims and stuff. They had to transfer him to another hospital. Like he almost died. Then the balls on him, and he went on to keep doing stunts and did a lot more fire stunts. That's I don't know about most people, but like if I get lit on fire and I almost die because it backfired, I'm not doing it again afterwards. So props to Kane. Yeah, it is. I love that one. There's a lot of stuff I didn't know about Kane when I first saw that when it came out. But that blew my mind because I had no idea about his accident with the fire stunt. I said, "Damn, man, this guy almost really fucking like died like hardcore, and came back with a vengeance." So I wonder why Jason goes into this girl's face anyway, and just to scare the shit out of her, I guess. Like, because we established he doesn't kill kids, but he does go up to that little girl and stare right in her face, and she starts singing into Sandman, and he disappears. So maybe he's trying to scare her. He had what other reason did he do that for? Is my point. Then the back break by with the sheriff's death is a cool kill. I wish we got to actually see it because it's dark as shit in these shots, so you can barely see what's happening to him. This guy gets what the thrown right at him. Arrow. I like Jason's tool belt in this. He has his little belt around him with all his arrows and knives and shit. All the children are fine. Don't worry, Sheriff McGarris. That girl's still awake, too. Sitting up in bed. Ding, 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 ding. This guy should have his gun out. All right, now he does. This guy's asking this guy in the friggin' bushes twice, come out here. He doesn't have his gun drawn. This girl jump scares the shit out of this guy, too. What's scary, man? The guy is right behind you. The guy who's going to dispatch you quickly. See, that's what I mean again with the kills. Like, this guy gets his head crushed. In 3, we see, what the hell is his name? It's not Paul. Whatever. So many people in this franchise. The guy in 3 who gets his eye popped out of his skull when he gets his head crushed. I mean, you can't compare this to that. And it sucks that they couldn't put effects in that look like close to that. Lie under the floor, under the beds, the sheriff tells the kids. Why not load their asses up in the 2 police cars? They can't be open. The back seats are locked. I mean, you could pile 10, 12 in there like a clown car. This small little 10, 8, 9, 10-year-olds. I would not have them go back into the cabin and lay under the beds where this psychopathic killer could very much find her. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Birdie's the only one who sticks out to me in 7 because of him being Birdie. So I always call 7 a carry weekend at Bernie's or something like that. What is this sheriff waiting for? You got this hockey mask guy with a bloody machete in front of him, and he's waiting to shoot him. I'd be unloading fucking like right in the face in the hockey mask. This guy shoots him once. Yeah, now he realizes you need more bullets to stop this guy. That's a cool shot where he gets shot right in the head and his head just goes like back a little bit, Jason, and he just like go regular again and starts walking at him. That's a cool shot. I don't know how there's so much blood in this cabin. There is blood soaked all over this cabin, like so much. Where did all that blood come from? I mean, there's no bodies in there. Favorite documentary? That's a good question. That's something I'll probably have to think of and get back to you on. Hmm. There's a few. That's one I'll think of and get back to you because that's a good question. Favorite documentary? It's one you don't get asked often because I do like watching docs like pretty often on whatever movies, real crime, especially like conspiracy theories, alien shit, cryptids, like all that type of stuff. I watch that all the time. Again, they're leaving the kids again. Like, they really don't care about getting these kids out of here. Just like these two little boys said, like, once we're dead meat. I think priority police procedure is to get the children away from this area as soon as fucking humanly possible. Apparently, it's not in the Camp Crystal Green or Camp Forest Green playbook. Yeah, she did get her head ripped off, the girl, earlier. You see her roll out of the car. So it would have been cool that the head twist looks cool on her. It would have been cool if he pulled the head up and we saw like her severed head. Oh, she sees her dad who blew himself because he got his back broken in half. Mm. What up, Russ? How you doing, buddy? No, it's the 80s kids. All right. Yeah, exactly. They're fine. Don't worry. How you doing, Russ? Sorry about last night, man. I was just feeling nauseous and shit. I told Ginger and Phil, I said, if I'm going to lay down, if I pass out, just put in the chat that we'll do it tonight. This is definitely a good idea to rewatch this, though, because it put some questions in my mind for CJ. I mean, it's not like I got to stretch time with him because, I mean, he only did this movie, but it's Jason Voorhees. You can talk about anything like with Jason for a while. Like Parry the other night was easy. The time flew by because of talk about the movie, General Hospital, the voice acting for video games. Like I knew that was going to pretty much fly by itself. Russell, what is your look and take on the yellow gloves for Jason in this movie? Because me and Larry were talking earlier. I think it might have been so they don't have to put prosthetic work on his arm, on his hands, every scene and every day when he goes and gets all the work already put on. Makes sense that they would just put gloves over it because this is the only movie though that we see it in, right? Is he wearing gloves? No, he wears gloves in others after this, but they're not yellow. I know that. So that probably actually makes the most sense. They just didn't want to put them in prosthetics on the hands. This is one of my favorite endings though to a Friday movie. All the effects with the fire on the lake and everything. I think it's one of the best ways of them killing Jason too. Sending him back to his watery grave. Oh yeah, I'm sure he knows, but he'll probably be in the interview chat after this. I don't think Phil saw my messages because He passed out like mad early last night. That's why I messaged 2 people. I said, throw that gasoline on Camp Crystal Lake. Sorry, Camp Forest Green Lake. Speaking of documentaries, Larry, Joe Berlinger, the director of Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2, he's primarily a documentary filmmaker. And that's what they actually picked him for the sequel to Blair Witch, because they didn't want to have the same found footage with kids in the woods and stuff. So they saw an early documentary of his. I can't remember what it is, but it is a great documentary. And that's how they picked him. That's the longest I've been waiting and corresponding for an interview was with him. It's been since like November of 2022. And I've talked to him personally twice, and I've talked to his 2 different secretaries because one stopped working for him during this time, and he's down for it. He just needs to, he does so much projects a year. He does like 4 or 5 documentaries a year. He did like the Ted Bundy tapes that are on Netflix. Then they did the Dahmer tapes, and then they did the John Wayne Gacy tapes or some other serial killer. He did all 3 of those. So I didn't know he was still making so many documentaries. But last I talked to his secretary was like 2 months ago before the holidays. She said, I know it's been so long. It's been since I've been working here. But she's like, I want you to know, Joe is like very appreciative that there are people out there that love, this movie, Book of Shadows, because it is such a hated and misunderstood movie. So she said, hopefully he'll be free in the first quarter of the year. I'm not doing stuff. So hopefully I can finally have him on because I've been waiting so long. Best doc would be Joe Spinell. That's a good one. That's a great one. I haven't seen that in a while. I mean, we know how much we both love Spinell, Russ. Now it's got me driving me nuts. I can't think of 7 Jason, part 7. Could I see it from here? My movie maniac. He's got gloves on, right? Yeah, he's got black gloves on. So yeah, this is the only movie with the yellow ones. But he has gloves, I'm pretty sure, in every movie after this. Oh, I love how the little girl asks when Tommy floats to the surface. She says, "Is he killed?" Like that's such a childish way of saying that. Instead of, "Is he dead?" Is he killed? You got a fucking steak. Try to finish this before CJ. Fun little jump scare near the end when she's trying to get him out of a lake and Jason reaches up, grabs her, almost brings her down. I don't know how Tommy's body didn't sink back down underwater and drown while this is all going on, but whatever. Cool effect with the boat propeller, too. Like chopping open Jason's neck and the garbage or whatever the fuck is inside him starts coming out. That looks good. There are good effects in this movie. It's just some of them, a lot of them are just really cut heavily. But like I said, nowhere near part 7 and Manhattan. I want to do another watch party sometime soon. I'm trying to think of a movie. So I might put a poll on the members tab and have you guys decide it. I got a few in mind. Maybe for like this this coming weekend. I know me and Dave are likely going to be watching Jason X on Friday because we're pretty much almost every Friday me and him stream. So we were just a Day of the Dead, a favorite of both of ours. Usually it's me introducing him to movies he hasn't seen before. So we thought of something. Well, like, we got to think of a fun one. And then Jason X came up. And we said, all right, we're doing Jason X. So that'll be on Friday. I got to hear back from Damien Maffei for the interview to have him on. The guy from Strangers Pray at Night, Haunt, the new Texas Chainsaw game. Then we got the Jurassic World franchise to finish up. We started the World part, is where we're going next. Because somehow they were able to open a fucking bigger park after 3 incidents, 1 at a park, and then 2 on the island, and they're still able to open an even bigger park. I don't know. None of that makes sense at all. But we will be talking it. Yeah, they do, Russ. And they have the Friday 4 uncut kills. I want to say we've had longer. The Friday 2 uncut kills we just got a few years ago, I think. And 7, there are ones for 7, but it's like real grainy, like early footage and stuff that they can't clean up. Some of them are all right, like the unedited, the fully uncut ones from part 4, but then there's probably equal amount, and that's the end of the movie there. But there's probably an equal amount of the movies that have kills that are uncut that don't look good, like that. I'm glad they cut them down. And Friday 4 has some of them, like with I always forget her name, the naked chick in the lake in the float, and then she gets the terrible death face that she gives. You can't even call that shit acting. And she's like, that goes on for way too long in the uncut one, and it looks even stupider. Alice in part 2, that looks stupid, the extended cut, because she gets the ice pick in the head, goes through the nose, but then she makes a terrible death face too, like when she's dragged off screen like this. That looks bad. The Crispin Glover's kill in part 4, the extended one, doesn't look as good as the quick cut one in the movie, but there are some that do look better. Like in 2 with the guy who's hanging upside down when Terry goes looking for something and then he gets his throat cut. There's a lot more blood that comes down. That guy almost died in part 2, the actor, hanging upside down like that because he didn't know how much blood was going to come down, and it started going into his nose and now he couldn't breathe. That dude almost died from that stunt. Yeah, the comparisons. Yeah, I've seen those too. Yeah, you can. That's where you can really see which ones shine being cut and which ones are good, like with the full uncut ones. Because there are, I'd say, like I said, probably half and half for me. Like half look good uncut, half I'm glad that they cut them. But all right, that is Friday part 6. That's a good way to jump into CJ. That'll be a half hour from now, guys. I'm gonna finish eating this steak, which is delicious, by the way. And I will see you guys in a half hour. And we'll have Jason on who'll actually speak, unlike the last hour and a half that he hasn't said a goddamn word on screen or to me. So we have him soon, and I will see you guys there. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I will see you soon.